playoffs.
Certainly. I think, a lot of teams, they've been kind of on the cusp of having good, solid breakaway performances from the rest of the pack, but these 2 weeks will be defining everything going into the live finals.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the first matchup of the day. It's Alliance versus Cloud9. Now, both these teams have struggled a lot during the Trinity Series. Cloud9 is almost mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. There's only one permutation of standings that allows them to win and make it through, and that also relies on them. They rely on having other teams lose or win respectively, depending on who's playing against each other. So they can make it in at 3 and 4, but it's going to be very, very tough. It's going to start with a pretty much a sweep here of Alliances required.
Yep. So, the strategy for Cloud9 to get in is win and hope other people don't in front of them. Some of the teams will play each other, so naturally they can't get first place no matter what. But there's still a chance for them as long as they're able to do it. Now, we do look at the match format. For people who aren't familiar, the teams ban 2 of the opposing team's classes and then pick 6 classes to play, effectively self-banning 1. Very popular strategy has been targeting Warrior, Shaman, or Rogue, and then usually taking away your own Hunter. Some people have been mixing it in a little bit. Some teams have been weaving in Hunter, for example. Let's see what ends up being the case here for Alliance and Cloud9.
One thing I'm hoping for Cloud9 this week is that they take some risks with their pick ban phase, because they don't really have too much to lose at this point, and they might as well try and shake things up, because whatever they've been doing hasn't been working out too well for them thus far. So Alliance goes ahead and bans out the Warrior away from Cloud9, and Cloud9 bans away Shaman from Alliance. So very standard bans right off the get-go. And Rogue taken away from Alliance, and Warrior taken away from, or Shaman taken away from Cloud9. So pretty standard. Now I'm excited to see the exclusions. Oh, Alliance is going to take away the Paladin from themselves. So Alliance is going to be playing Rexstar this week. They're going to be playing the Hunter.
That's nice to see. I think Hunter is definitely underrated in this format. Because if you eliminate Hunter's weaknesses, or you just make sure to play it later in the series, so that way you can avoid really powerhouse decks, you can queue up the counter for it, it's able to at least go 1 for 1 if you're able to target, say, Reno Warlock, for example, or maybe it's got even better matchups against other things that we're not expecting. I haven't seen Hunter versus Druid too much in the meta. I haven't seen Hunter versus Reno Mage. A lot of times you think some of these mid-range decks are supposed to give those control decks a lot of fits, because Hunter curves out really strong and leverages things like high main and kill command to finish the game. So let's see how they end up utilizing this to their strategies.
Yeah, and here's Cloud9. And a pretty normal strategy for them going in. They're not shaking things up. I was hoping that we'd get to see a Hunter from them this week, especially since Firebat has been experimenting a lot with the Hunter deck, with Hunter decks recently. He's been on Delay's stream and on his own stream playing with Delay and trying to make Hunter decks work. But alas, they are going to just go with a pretty normal strategy as far as the Trinity Series is concerned, with Rogue being their one patches class that's up at the moment.
Yep, and Rogue's also recently going through some recent revivals of some sort. People have started figuring out that if you ban away a lot of those early patches decks, like Warrior and Shaman, you can get away with playing anti-control Rogue, which is Malygos Rogue. Standard Dachi and Wire have been playing those decks a lot on ladder for Europe, and they've had a lot of success. And they cut the Pirates package entirely, from Rogue. So it's interesting to see if these players are working that in this week. And I also know that some teams are also thinking a lot about the Murloc package. How is Finja, the Flying Star, going to be able to be weaved in, if any, along with the Blue Gills and the War Leaders?
Well, then it's time to get underway with match number 1. So let's head on over to Hearthstone Town. Game number 1.
Oh, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Hearthstone Town came so fast.
Small trip to Hearthstone Town. Alliance versus Cloud9, game number 1. This is actually very interesting to me. Cloud9 opens with Rogue, which is something that we've seen no team do thus far, or very little teams do thus far, because of the fact that Rogue is usually used as a counter deck to a lot of the the control matchups that happen later on. Alliance is opening up with Tempo Mage, which has actually been a choice that's becoming more popular. We've seen Luminosity have done it in the past couple weeks because Tempo Mage can sneak some wins in early on against a lot of classes, especially Murloc Paladin, which a lot of teams seem to be opening with.
Yeah, looks like Cloud9 is on a normal Rogue this week. Last time we saw Ties of Time bring a Reno Rogue that had N'Zoth in it, and Ties was saying that it felt like a really underrated deck and performed decently well. It was one of Cloud9's better decks.
Yeah, it really was. Now, one thing to note here is that this could still be the aggressive Rogue because of the fact that all these cards are not exclusive to, regular Miracle. The aggressive Rogues still use Azure Drake. They still use Edwin and Swashbuckler. So we're going to have to look for some, key cards to be able to tell the difference. Aggro Rogue became very popular last week in the NA playoffs, even surpassing Miracle Rogue as far as representation goes. But this is a completely different beast. This is last year's standing, and Aggro Rogue may not be able to get the job done.
Well, Tides had an opportunity, Cloud9 had an opportunity to eliminate this backstab, or this mana worm with backstab and the patches. Why do you think they held on to this, TJ?
Well, they can go for next turn a pretty big Edwin Van Cleef play. If a 2-drop is played and they play backstab coin plus Edwin, all of a sudden they're going into turn 3 with a 6/6, and the mana worm really isn't going to be able to challenge it. So either way, they're going to be able to maybe deal with this. They can even wait even longer than that. If next turn they dagger up, and then the following turn they swashburglar, then backstab, then coin, then Edwin. Which would make it an 8/8, and they'd still be able to deal with whatever drops came out because they'd get a patches. So if they were to hit into the mana worm, they could backstab the next turn, throw their dagger in, and their swashbuckler in. So definitely a lot of opportunity for Cloud9. But let's go and listen to these teams as they get through these early turns.
I'm just gonna wait on the Van Cleef.
See,
they're rubbing us back. It's Osaka.
Wait, we definitely saved
That's
this
not even-
backstab for next turn, right? With Van Cleef.
You play the 8/8, dude.
Oh, you just kill it.
All right, you could play 6/6, or you could wait. So yeah, you wait.
Wait,
Yeah, we're
You
waiting.
staggered, man.
you're waiting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I said. Wait, what are you talking about? You meant make the Van Cleef this turn? But you can't make the big Van Cleef this turn.
No. You make Van Cleef next turn, dude.
Yeah. That's why I say hold the second backstab too, right? That's what I was asking.
Let's
Okay, sure.
So we're looking for Forbidden Flame or Arcane Blast,
I'll be just like you.
or not Arcane Blast.
Okay.
Freezing Potion.
Get him.
Win the game.
Wait, do you play Questing or Van Cleef? Van Cleef, right?
Van Cleef's a 10/10.
Yeah. Questing might not grow big enough. I like this play. This is a good play.
This is everything that's wrong in Hearthstone in one turn.
This is not what's wrong with Hearthstone. This is some good tempo. And tempo is sacred.
Yeah, I mean, we have no choice.
Tonight,
Nope.
a tale of wonder and magic.
Nice. I mean, it's one of the better ones, I guess.
It's probably.
I don't think it matters, but
I mean, we needed that to win the game, so.
Well, that's a 10/10 Van Cleef.
Yeah, turn 3, and Firebad, of course, sarcastically commenting that that's what's wrong with Hearthstone. And Strifeco saying, well, this is kind of what you want to be doing. You want to be fighting for tempo. The fact that you're able to get such early game board position, and very candidly speaking, a lot of players do feel like coming back from an early Van Cleef like that is very, very hard to do. Reno Mage has the polymorph, but we know Alliance is playing Tempo Mage now, so it's kind of difficult to fight back for it. They need to hope that Cloud9 fizzles after this, but they have a lot more to follow up, not besides that Van Cleef. They have Questing Adventurer, Small Time Buccaneer this turn, and they have Azure Drake.
Yeah, be able to replenish their resources. And looks like they're going to go with Questing Adventurer this turn, and I wonder if they're going to go face here. All right, face it is. I mean, I guess with a 10/10 Van Cleef, there's not really a world where they're going to deal with Questing Adventurer and Edwin Van Cleef, especially not in the same turn. So Alliance has to, make the decision of which one's a higher priority, if they even have had the resources to do with Edwin, which they don't. So, very tough spot. They're dead next turn potentially.
Well, if they're if they draw with Azure Drake, and then our Kin Missiles lands on the ideal targets, killing the Small-Time Buccaneer and the Swashbuckler, then they're still alive by 1 health. But right now, Cloud9 has 6 damage from the hand, and then 11 on board with weapon plus Van Cleef. So these Arcane Missiles need to hit 3 times correctly in order for Alliance to be in this game.
Oh, nope. Not quite.
Super quick game number 1 here.
Holy moly. We haven't seen any teams really open up with Rogue, but I mean, when that happens, maybe more teams should rethink it. It's usually used as we said, that control counter for later on. You know, you take it when you absolutely need that win later on in the series. But Cloud9 is just going to open up, and a good start to what is a crucial last couple weeks for Cloud9. They need sweeps effectively.
Yeah, like we said at the very beginning of the series, the Cloud9's 1-4 currently in the standings, and that's just not where you want to be. So thinking about what Cloud9 needs to be able to do here, they need to not only win convincingly, their teams that are ahead of them need to also lose pretty badly as well, because they need to catch up on the tiebreakers. If they finish 3-4, then other teams who finish 3-4, they're going to be tied in the same exact score. They need to have that game-win differential.
Yeah, that's how it. How effectively the tiebreakers are determined at the end of the season. It's win percentage based off of games. So, you know, of course, the more wins and less losses you have, the higher that percentage is going to be. So, you know, Alliance now, Mage has been eliminated. That's the risk you take when you throw out a deck at first. That's why a lot of players have been throwing out Murloc Paladin, is because of the fact that they're okay with losing that in round 1 if, you know, their opponents have a different strategy than what they were expecting. But now it's up to Alliance to find a different deck to go up against the Rogue with. They have a few options here. Probably the Warrior is the one that stands out the most. Potentially Hunter if it's aggressively themed, but Hunter probably not. It's probably more about that control killer that we talked about.
Yeah, Hunter doesn't really seem to have a very reliable fast build these days. The fastest that you can build Hunter is probably the Secrets Hunter. Secrets Hunter can be very quick to get onto the board and, as a result, overwhelm your opponent. But you know, it's definitely not nearly as good as it was back in the meta with Whispers of the Old Gods. Yeah. Primarily because Call of the Wild still is 9 mana, and back then, even if you play a Secrets Hunter, I mean, it wasn't even aggro. It was more like, you know, mid range, but it was like a fast version.
Yeah.
Call of the Wild being 9 mana just makes it too slow. So. You end up building out a mid-range version most of the time.
Yeah, and it usually doesn't do well against Rogue because they get on the board earlier. You know, Hunter is only a little bit away from having enough to be able to run the Pirate package. They're like a 2-mana weapon away.
Glaive-Zuka?
If they had Glaive-Zuka in Standard, then I think that Pirate Hunter would be a viable deck. But jumping into game number 2, an interesting choice here for Cloud9. The red Mana Worm is the choice for them.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pirate War makes the most sense here. Rogue is on the play, but they have Swashbuckler to start things off. Really important that Rogue makes sure that the Warrior doesn't get bored. But here's the thing. Warrior can get behind on board in the very beginning and still burn Rogue to death because they just Rogue has to use its own health to trade with weapons, and it's going to naturally take a lot of damage. So even if Cloud9 can get off to a fast start here, still look for Alliance to potentially win through just killing Rogue shit.
Yeah. Let's go and take a listen into Alliance and see how they're planning out these early turns.
Just ends off kill the Buccaneer.
Yeah. I don't think we ever coined something. We never coined the
No.
guy because they killed it.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I like it.
It's never any other one. Always ends off.
No, yeah, always ends off.
Fly, party.
Ooh. And we have coin frauding into frauding into
Yeah, I think I still like the frothing more.
Yeah, I also like the frothing.
It gets punished by less things, right? Like if they just have backstab, the 1-drops are kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I like the frothing too.
Like we have to get the frothings out at some point. They're also just really strong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. They're good. Yeah, they're good on 3, so they're pretty bad late.
My blade be thirsty.
Well, pretty good opening for Alliance, I'd say. They have double Frothy Berserker with plenty of Pirates to boot, just missing some weapons.
Wow.
Oh!
Wow. Grom Hellscream comes into the hand.
Not
Rogue has a
bad.
way to fight back onto the board or even just end the game. We'll see. I mean, it doesn't look like Alliance is convincingly taking the board right now, but maybe this is the turn where things start getting kind of south for Cloud9 because the second Frothing Berserker, Cloud9 has no way to deal with that.
Yeah, the Barnes is interesting to me. Barnes was played in the first versions of the Questing Rogue, but a lot of players cut it, to make room for Pirate Package as well as things like Counterfeit Coin, and a little bit of the new additions to Rogue after the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. But Cloud9 bringing it back with Questing Adventurer, Red Mana Worm, Tomb Pillager. They actually have a lot of tools in the deck that can help when pulled out by Barnes. So we'll see if that's going to be impactful. They might have a surprise for us as well, some secret tech choices perhaps.
Yeah, Barnes really works well with effect cards as well as Death Battle cards, so maybe they can surprise us there. Looks like Alliance instead is opting for the Bloodsail Raider because they really want to be able to get weapon value. They don't want to drop Frothing Berserker and have to use their weapon, which means that Bloodsail Cultist and Small Time Buccaneer get worse, and the Bloodsail Raider gets worse. So it looks like they're doing a nice little pivot here, just trying to optimize their the use of their cards. And Cloud9 gets an opportunity to breathe a little bit here.
They haven't had a chance to put on any points of damage, though, is the big thing. Well, 1 point of damage. So we'll see if that's going to be impactful. They don't have weapons either. They can get the weapon a little bit stronger with Bloodsail or Small Time Buccaneer plus Bloodsail Cultist. And they do have Life Tap. But Cloud9 does have that Grom. So maybe they'll be able to close out the game. Let's go ahead and listen in. Maybe we can get some more info about what this Barnes could potentially pull.
Thing.
He thinks he's gonna kill us? No way.
This works.
He ain't killing us.
Let's say we're hoping for top deck backstab. Or like Auctioneer Barnes and the backstab.
Yeah, we could probably just play Burns, see what we draw first from Burns. And then we can just conceal the Auctioneer, because I know we're going to hit it.
This would be a very interesting pre-hit. It plays around conceal.
What do you mean pre-hit?
Hits the 5/4.
Oh, with his weapon? Would you just start hitting him in the face then? You're guaranteed. If he hits your 5/4, you can probably, no matter what you get from Burns, just hit him in the face, conceal Burns, right? Like, that's 10 damage from the 5/4 and another 4 damage from Burns.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's 14, 15. That's... We're getting really close to killing him. Right?
Yeah,
Do we just race now?
Well, see what we get off Barnes.
Play Burns first, yeah.
A tale of glorious redemption.
Especially just Red Mana Worm. Oh, no way. Is it better off hitting him in the face?
Why don't we
here?
just trade?
I don't
think we're
better.
racing him.
I think we are racing him. We have 28.
No,
and you
okay, look at this. Look at this. Like, we trade, and then we just Auctioneer Coin Conceal next turn.
You make your... Yeah, but you can hit him in the face and still say conceal. Like, there's no reason to trade here. It makes his Rusty Hook worse, because he has less life to use. Like, you don't even have to use conceal. You can just hit him in the face and still not conceal, right? It's like he has good trades on board. Not really.
I like hitting him in the face.
Not in his face. You're not clearing all the pirates either. I think you save your coin or your weapon though, and you save the conceal now, right? Like I don't see a point in using conceal.
This is interesting. Not sure what we do here. We can go tap frauding. It's kind of scary to tap now, though.
It's only really Leroy.
Yeah.
If we clear the board, it's
they
only
used
Leroy.
one. Yeah, but we can't really clear their board.
We
So
can.
if we go frauding, it's kind of weird to clear their board.
We could go Corcoran into double 3.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually.
We trade.
I think I like that more.
We'll still keep the 3-4 on board, so it's unlikely to kill it.
Yeah,
Use one.
trade a small time into Tomb Pillager then, right?
Yeah, we trade a small time.
Do you trade in Corcoran?
Yeah,
Oh.
trading Corcoran.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I figured it made more sense because we're so low.
Well, this is a pretty good start for Cloud9. And you could hear Alliance debating. It's not very often that you see the Pirate Warrior trade in the matchup against Rogue, but they're going for it.
Yeah, and now they have this Concealed Gaddison Auctioneer. Just have to figure out how to get that game-ending damage. We saw Grom be in the hand. It's not exactly easy to activate with Rogue. They do have Backstab, for example, but I believe one was used already. So they have to figure out a way that they can activate that Grom for game-ending damage. But with Auctioneer and Sap to start things off here, it looks like they're going to be able to dig really deep in their deck this turn.
And an Edwin Van Cleave, so if they pick up some cheap spells and like a prep, Backstab is a huge one.
I mean, Backstab with Grom is setting up for lethal the following turns,
Oh, that's
too.
true. That's very true.
So you can set up a 6/6 Van Cleef and a small-time Buccaneer with that. I don't know if it's worth just tossing with a Backstab.
Well,
That's
you'd have
an
to
activator for Grom.
You'd have to re-equip the dagger this turn because you'd have to attack face with the daggers. So you'd have to do 5 to face right now, re-equip dagger, and the next turn Grom Backstab plus dagger hit to deal 11.
That's assuming that everything dies, though. Right now, just having the 6/6 Van Cleef and the 3/2 Buccaneer, nothing's going to trade evenly.
That's true. That's very true, actually.
So,
maybe they could even backstab to make it a little... No, you're right. They need the backstab for the Grom.
Yeah. I mean, the other logic is that if you just backstab, you could hypothetically draw a little bit more, so that way Van Cleef becomes the unstoppable force anyways.
Yeah.
No. Now seeing that, Van Cleef gets a little bit bigger. Ah, the potential, though.
Yeah, a little bit. They gave up the activator, but let's go and listen into Alliance and see how they're going to read this play from Cloud9.
I mean, we're always going frauding Corcoran here. The question is what we do.
Just leave the Edwin up.
Yeah, I guess we leave the Edwin. It's still 2 cards with Leroy to kill us.
Do we just hit? What do we do against the small time Buccaneer?
I think we have to kill it.
With our face,
if we don't,
with our face,
if we don't, no, if we kill it with our face or leave it up, it means that 4 damage kills us.
Which is the second Eviscerate or a Cold Blood.
Yeah.
So we have to trade the Cultist.
And Leroy, so it's 4 cards. We probably have to trade the Cultist with the 3/2.
And if we hit him for 4 now, we put him to 14, 10.
We put him
We have the
to
frothing
11.
and Warx.
Put him to 11. Yeah, just do it. Just do it, frothing, and do a 4/3 face. 1/2 into. Yeah. I mean, this is probably right.
Uh-oh.
Just play Grom and take all the trades.
Yep.
Which one how do you trade? Do you trade... Just think about it for a second. Oh my god. But that's not the right way to trade either, right?
No, and we should have poked with the dagger.
Oh my god, we beat the Warrior, now we win. That's so sick though.
Look at that. Rogue takes the win over Pirate Warrior. That's a huge upset for Cloud9 going to game number 3 with a 2-0 decisive lead. And, I'm thinking Cloud9 is in a pretty good position to win this series. I mean, that's pretty obvious considering that they're up in the lead, but you just look at the decks that have been eliminated. 2 of the aggressive decks the Rogue has beaten. That's usually not supposed to happen. If they lost with any other deck and they didn't have Warrior available, I would actually think that Alliance wanted Tempo Mage into the Rogue, but that's not the case here.
No, it's not. And, they do have Alliance still has Hunter left. That's a big thing to note. They can beat these greedy style control decks with Hunter. Hunter can punish that style, but they have less options, which is the main thing here. And Rogue, as the deck that Cloud9 is gonna be playing in the next game, taking a look at Alliance's side, Rogue has good matchups against a lot of these decks, if not all of these decks. Rogue is even or favored against all of these matchups if they bring the standard list for whatever respective class it is.
Certainly against Druid and Warlock, and to a large degree Priest as well. The Hunter does remain of a question mark because we're not exactly sure what type of Hunter is being brought, but if I can extrapolate based on the previous weeks, Hunter is most likely going to be a mid-range Hunter of some sort. And it's not like having Paladin would be much better. The Miracle Rogue is really good at punishing those slow decks that just need to draw a lot of cards first in order to get off their combo. So, man, what do you do here if you're Alliance? Maybe you go with Reno Warlock and hope that you can get the really powerful 4-drops that the Rogue can't answer.
Yeah. I mean, Warlock, even though Rogue is considered favored, it's very close because, a turn 4 Kazakus can change the outcome of the game pretty much. Or just having Reno on time. Your removal can line up well against Rogue. You have Twisting Nether and Kazakus Potion potentially to answer big conceal turns. You have Siphon Soul to answer big stuff. But, Rogue can always just beat anything if they get a 10-10 Edwin and a 8-8 Questing Adventure that are concealed.
And, even though it seemed like Tides may have rushed a couple of turns there and Cloud9 might be like, you don't trade like that. But in the end, their macro game is on point here, where they're just making sure that these are the turns that we push for tempo. These are the turns we remove. That the more important thing, rather than should they have saved backstab for Grom, or should we have traded Grom into the core Chrono Lead, or vice versa, isn't as important as should we go face with the Tomb Pillager and save coin for coin gadgets and with the conceal that turn, or versus concealing there. These are the decisions that matter more, and because they opened up their options that way, they were in a good position to win.
Yeah, well, Rogue has been a staple in a lot of players' lineups, but let's go ahead and take a look at the success of some classes with Rogue. Cloud9 with 3 total wins now, and this is pretty low compared to a lot of other classes because Rogue is banned in a lot of the matches. So you have to think this may be a sample size of 2 series for some of these teams, or 1 series for other these teams. Tempo Storm had a week where they had 3 wins with one of the Rogues. They had 3 wins in a single week, so you can tell Rogue has a lot of success in certain hands.
Yeah, not much across the board in terms of Rogue appearances. Luminosity and Virtus Pro not even being able to win with Rogue, a lot of times because it's banned. And for good reason, because Rogue is really scary. If you start eliminating all of its aggressive matchups, then Rogue turns out is probably one of the best decks in the format currently, which is surprising given that prior to Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, everyone was moaning about the state of Rogue, saying that Blade Flurry was nerfed. Therefore, we did not have a viable board cleared. They don't have access to heal because Healbot is no longer in standard. Therefore, they have no ability to stay alive. And they felt like there would just be no opportunity or hope for Rogue.
Yeah.
However, they forgot that Rogue got one of the best cards in the set. Patches. And Small Time Buccaneer.
Indeed. We'll be getting change, and I think it'll affect Rogue quite a bit. But we'll see. Only time will tell. We'll see. Maybe we'll get to use the changes, see the changes for the last week of Trinity Series, shake things up a bit.
Well, we'll see it come into play somewhat here. You look at Alliance's hand. Mountain Giant is one of the problematic cards that Rogue always had to deal with. But now with the fact that they can get Swashbuckler and Small Time Buccaneer in their early hand, Cloud9 does have some early tools to fight for the board and really punish Alliance for life tapping a lot. That is one of the problems that you can run into. Normally, playing Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake is really strong on turn 4. But if Rogue has board and they sap you, then you're just going to be taking, 5 damage right back. Yeah. And can you afford to play slow again for the following turn?
Yeah, that's a great point. And Cloud9, keep Swashbuckler and Azure Drake as their 2 cards from their mulligan. So realizing that I suppose that they need a little bit more gas with the Drake in order to get through the mid game.
Darkshire Librarian's interesting. I wonder if Cloud9's going to just play that on the curve, because drawing a card and cycling one of them in their hand does. The only thing that it really stings, I think, is Van Cleave, because everything else is somewhat expendable. You don't always need Zap. You don't always really even need Conceal. And Azure Drake cycles itself, which, I mean, Darkshire Librarian is doing it. So I wonder if they want to add that to the power. And that's one of the nice things about Swashbuckler, adding situational cards that might be the right answer at the right time.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. They can always go for just a dagger up if they don't feel comfortable. If they really feel like their Van Cleave is going to be the card that leaves the hand. But it's definitely a decision that they have to make this turn. Alliance goes with a tap instead of the Dark Peddler to try and contest the board.
They don't. They probably would consider Dark Peddler if their opponent had a small-time Buccaneer to just try to relieve some of the pressure. It would take away the dagger and the patches. But now there's only 2 damage that they're really giving up, and they feel like Rogue traditionally just hero powers on 2. That they can use this turn to set up Imp King Boss into the Twilight Drake. That's going to give Cloud9 maybe an opportunity to pressure even more. But the huge debate is whether or not they want to walk into Demon Wrath with things like Darkshire Librarian. Wait, hold on. Darkshire Librarian, is that a demon or not? I haven't played too much of that.
It's not.
Too much of that card recently. Okay.
It's a humanoid.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Well, you would know, TJ, as a humanoid yourself.
I am. I have a uncanny ability to recognize humanoids. But let's go ahead and take a listen to Alliance. See what they're planning.
What?
Okay.
Okay. So, 1 concealed gun. We just play Imp King, right?
Yeah.
Seems pretty good into this.
Coin Cold Blood Van Cleef looks pretty good.
Are we putting Cold Blood on?
Put Cold
And are we
Blood
trading?
On the 3/2 maybe? Oh wait, which one?
No, you put Cold Blood on a 1/1, and then you jam everything to the face, right?
I definitely think all face. Yeah, there's no way trade for it, but just not sure which one. Yeah, this makes more sense.
I mean, we have Blast Crystal.
I'm so tempted
I
to
think we
just
might have
use
to
it
go
here.
for value trade, actually.
You think we have to go for the value trade?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we ever
have to,
trade into the
we can
5/1.
If we,
It seems really bad to trade into the 5/1 here.
We're also taking a lot of damage, and we don't have Reno.
We're only taking two more damage. Then if we
2 more
trade
damage,
into
but
the-
it's over 2 turns, it's actually less damage because the Imp King,
Yeah.
like, 3 min instead of just 1.
Yeah, I'm on board.
So Blast Crystal the Edwin and go kill the 3/2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Was Edwin the?
Oh, Leroy, nice. That means he's almost certainly dead.
Do we sap? Protect the 5/1?
I
You want
think
to
you sap.
eviscerate? Sap eviscerate face?
I like developing Eviscerate this turn. Although Eviscerate is only 2 more damage than
What?
Dagger, because you can Dagger over multiple.
Sap eviscerate sets up lethal.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, okay.
You just sap eviscerate all phase GG next turn.
Do you really all face and not even take the 1/1 trade?
If you want lethal, yes.
Okay.
Right, otherwise you're relying on the 5/1 connecting, and he left up a 5/1 instead of a 3/2.
Wait.
He's got a plan to kill it.
The problem is, what if he just heals and trades for the 1/1 for the 5/5? Like, what if he just plays for
No, he has more heals than he has mortal coils.
Yeah.
He's setting up a mortal coil.
We
That's
have a
why
Zerg-
he left up a 3/2. Or left up a 5/1 instead of a 3/2. Otherwise he trades the other.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, we get punished by refreshment vendor, and
I don't think that read is setting up a more recoil. By the way, I think that's just the greed trade because it's still removing a 3/2 or a 5/1, so it's only removing 2 less power, but he's also getting, the value trade, like the board control, by having the imp still.
If he has a refreshment vendor, I think we win.
All right, well, Cloud9 really talking through all the possibilities. Are you leaning one way or the other here, TJ?
I think you always go face there because, there's only a few things that punish you. You can win the long game, but if you have a chance to set up a two-turn lethal, then I think you go for it. And now Alliance is in such an awkward spot. They don't even have Reno in their hand. They don't even have a heal until they get to turn 6 with Siphon Soul. They're thinking about going for a Dirty Rat on, what essentially could lose them the game based on the read that there's a Leroy in hand.
Yeah, and they should be able to sort of read that there's a Leroy in hand because of the way that everything else is played out. Your opponent was really hesitant on one going to face, and so I think you can extrapolate that. Looks like Cloud9 is 1 damage off lethal right now, but they're going to turn 5, and they have an ability to set up put your opponent at 1 health, not giving them the ability to life tab, and the turn before Reno Jackson.
Yeah, and Leroy here, you're essentially not even giving them, it doesn't even have a downside, because the Whelps are just going to get swept up in the Doomsayer anyway, so Alliance needs some help off the top, either a second-rate bruiser, refreshment vendor, something that keeps them alive.
Dark Peddler can search for heal, but that doesn't mean anything.
This looks like it's going to be another 3-0.
Shift Desires could have maybe given an answer, but looks like they're just dead on the board.
If only Shifter Xeris shifted the same turn that you took it and also made whatever you got cost 0 mana.
3 mana.
Yeah.
I mean, for 3 mana or less, I think they could have survived with Farseer, for example.
Farseer, yep.
Yeah, that was an opportunity for them to potentially climb back the game. Cabal Courier, that could also pick up some interesting stuff. Because there's always Priest cards, there's always Mage cards. I can always throw Rogue into quite the fits. Give Rogue quite the fits. Wow. Early in the morning, TJ. Words are hard. Going into game number 4 now, Cloud9 is up 3-0, which means that they're halfway to the victory point here. But with 3-0, with no decks being eliminated here, it looks like, Cloud9's pretty much dominant position here. Like, I would say that they're 80% or more to close the series.
Or more, I think, is the key there. Because look at the decks remaining. Hunter, Druid, and Priest. I figured Warlock would be the closest matchup for them, probably the closest to 50-50. But now they're going to have to go into an unfavorable matchup almost 100% of the time and win. And not only that, but whatever deck they use is going to be, vulnerable to a counter. So if they use the Hunter deck now to try and get a win over the Rogue, then they won't have the Hunter deck to counter something later on. And Cloud9 gets a huge advantage because of that. So this is just not a good position for Alliance. And we've talked about Cloud9's story and how Cloud9 needs to win. They're in a must-win position. Even if they do win, it's unlikely that they make it to the playoffs. Alliance, though, they're sort of in a must-win situation too, because they're not that far up in the standings, and they still need a lot of help if they want to make it to the playoffs as well after their rough start to the season.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some math right now just on my makeshift calculator here. Yes, Alliance is unfavored in some of these matchups, but they should be able to beat the Rogue eventually, like even on paper.
Eventually.
Yes, even if Rogue is 70% favored across the next 3 matchups, that gives Alliance the 34% to eliminate. A 66% chance to eliminate it by the end of the series. But the problem is, what is after the Rogue? Because then, let's say they win with Priest magically somehow. Then your opponent plays their Arena Warlock. Or say you queue Druid, and then they're able to queue something else that they have, like specifically killing it. Maybe their own Dragon Priest. It's going to be really tough for Alliance to make sure that they survive it. And their sweep potential is really low because Warrior and Shaman have been eliminated. And there's not really much left here for Alliance.
Yeah, there really isn't. And
Shaman and Rogue were banned. Their Warriors been eliminated, right?
Their warrior's been eliminated. They have no aggressive decks left, unless their hunter is some type of aggressive hunter. But we pretty much ruled out that possibility. If it was aggressive, I think we would have saw it in the last game too. So let's see. It is going to be the Priest, and this matchup has gotten a lot closer. Priest has gotten a lot more value-oriented cards, but you know it still suffers from if Priest loses board, it's very hard for them to gain it back. And some of the minions that Rogue has are very tough for Priest to deal with. You know, you're talking about Azure Drake or Gadgetzan Auctioneer. They don't have any way to interact with the concealed board because their hard removal isn't that great unless you know it's Shadow or Death or Shadow or Pain. So this matchup can be very swingy in the sense that if Rogue misses their early game, then Priest can run away with it if they take board. But if Priest misses their early game, or if Rogue just has a decent start, then a lot of times Priest has trouble sticking on the board.
All right, 3 games in, and Alliance is not looking good right now. Let's see if they're able to use this bomb of an opening hand. I mean, that's kind of as good as it gets. They just need a little bit extra early game here to make sure that their early curve is cemented. But outside of that, I don't think they could be complaining here.
Yeah. All right, Dragonfire Potion picked up from Swashbuckler. Probably not too useful in a matchup where your opponent's just playing a ton of dragons. But who knows? Maybe it'll be able to
do nothing to your opponent. 6 mana clear your own board.
Yeah, maybe they'll be able to use it to clear off a board full of Blackwood Corruptors or Wormrest Agents or I don't even know.
Cabal Talent
Or
Priest.
Black Knights, perhaps.
I mean, Black Knight's a 4/5. That's really annoying.
But a Golden Black Knight in a Priest deck.
Yeah, what year is it? Black Knight being a tech card of choice?
What does it even kill? Tyrion?
Well, yeah, but
Ancient of War?
It kills Ancient of War, like Druids, for example. So that way they queued Dragon Priest to Druid.
What's Dragon Priest usually? Is it? I
Reno
guess
Mage and Druid.
Yeah. Reno Mage really only has second-rate Bruiser. I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, I guess if they're going to use it to counter Druid, then it makes a lot of sense. But it's just a 6-mana 4/5 in this matchup because unless there's some type of shenanigans from Swashbuckler, there's not going to be any taunts.
Yeah, stats on the Black Knight aren't great for the mana cost, but they just so happen to line up perfectly against like Rogue's Reach. They can't really deal with 5 health really easily, unless they have Dragonfire Potion. It turns out they can deal with
Turns
it.
out.
Yeah. Imagine you just get something like Azure Drake Prep Dragonfire Potion.
Yeah.
What kind of sick combo is that on turn 8? That's ridiculous.
Well, Questing Adventure just played out into an empty board, and Alliance doesn't have a way to deal with it. Let's listen to Cloud9, see what they're planning.
Oh
Prep
my
and Tomb.
god.
Prep and Tomb.
Prep and Tomb.
And we say backstab, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The only problem now is you could death it.
But
Then we play
backstab
Drake and win
doesn't
the game.
stop anything. But I mean, what I'm saying is backstab doesn't stop death, right? If you're
Yeah.
debating that.
Backstab doesn't make your minions attack damage smaller.
Go Twilight Guardian, hope they play 1 card and hope we top deck something. And we can go Wormrest Agent, go Power Word Shield, hope we top deck Death.
We can't afford Death plus that next turn.
Yeah. Next turn we can just go Death, Hero Power. I mean, I meant we can go Wormrest Agent this turn and just go.
I meant like that.
I mean, it seems pretty.
How likely
that
do
they
you
only
guys,
play 1 card next turn. It's pretty
how likely do you guys think that like Twilight Guardian into Vermist Agent, Cabal Talon Priest is actually like those 3? It's super ambitious to think that those 3 might kill Questing.
They're not going to kill Questing, but they'll stall into like.
Yeah, there's stall into hopefully something.
I'm leaning towards Guardian now.
Yeah, same.
If they have Azure, yeah, I mean, sure.
Do we protect the life total? I think we do.
So if you trade in, then it's placed in a Blackened Corruptor, right?
Or Excavated Evil.
I still like Drake more than backstab of the 3.
I don't know.
What about
like
Leroy?
I
I like that a lot.
I guess I like Leroy more than Backstab Eviscerate, but
Let's go.
I mean,
No, protecting the
Okay.
questing life total is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's forced to death and not develop, it puts us in a favorable position.
We'll also have the relay that doesn't have death, right? But he probably has Prepper.
Yep.
I don't think he's dead.
I don't think he's dead either.
Man, I love listening to Cloud9, TJ. Just their little isms that they have between like Tides. He's a rusher. He loves being able to get down to business. Doesn't really like taking time and roping. And then, you know, Firebad, Shrifecore are very meticulous. They love, like, thinking things through, and they're, like, debating all the time. And the first play that Tides really likes to latch onto, he's like, okay, I'm going to go do it. And they're like, whoa, wait.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how Firebat and Shrifecore's playstyle differs as well. Firebat loves to just do the strongest thing, and Firebat just wants to play a value-oriented game, you know, all day long. Shrifecore does. So... and Tides of Time doesn't really care. It's probably about 50-50 whether or not he latches onto Firebat's idea or latches onto Shrifecore's idea.
Well, Cloud9 has access to a board clear this turn, backstab, double eviscerate with the dagger. That would make the not the Van Cleave, the Questing Adventure into 9 attack right now.
They could backstab Dragonfire Potion.
That would make their Questing Adventure vulnerable to a Blackwing Corruptor, which I think they've been trying to avoid.
Yeah, but anything that they do... Oh, no, it's two damage. Not anything that they do would make it vulnerable to Blackwing Corruptor. Because if they just play Azure Drake and then attack in, then the Talent Priest attacks in, and then a Blackwing Corruptor comes out. So
no, they would just backstab, eviscerate the Wormrest agent, dagger the Wormrest.
Oh, I see.
Eviscerate.
Yeah, you're right.
So they would clear everything. I mean, they could also leave up the Talon Priest if they want to, because then it's only 3 attack, and their thing would be at 9 health. So it's kind of hard to clear for 6 damage. Yeah. So maybe they go face with this Eviscerate. Nah. I mean, realistically, either's okay. And this Alliance is just screwed.
Shadow or Death or Bust right now. Blackwing Technician's not going to do it. They can heal up to 12 with 10 damage on the board. 2 cards would mean they're dead. They can try and maybe Power Word Shield on the Questing Adventure and hope that it comes off the top is the only way.
Yeah, or attach to a Northshire Cleric. I mean, healing for 2 does feel like it's important, but they already used Leroy Jenkins and 2 Eviscerates, so their burst is significantly reduced. I would probably want to attach it to a Northshire Cleric here. But, I mean, Alliance, they have a lot to debate on. You know, maybe it's worth healing. Maybe they just have to assume that they need to heal. And then, I guess if they also Power Word Shield and get Shadow Word Death. No, I still think attaching to a Northshire Cleric makes the most sense.
All right, let's see. Can they pick up the death? Nope.
No.
That's brutal. But let's listen to Cloud9 and hear what they think as they are approaching the game close.
It works. Oh, yeah. The all-sweet rogue.
You know, they probably left up Rogue because of the N'Zoth shit.
They were sandbagging, Dan.
Okay.
They were sandbagging the whole time.
They're playing the long con. They're saying, you know what, we're going to do a bad deck this week, so next week they think that we're going to do some really weird stuff, and then they won't ban it, and then we'll just sweep them with Rogue.
What's funny is that the N'Zoth Rogue last week actually was kind of successful in what it was trying to do, you know, as the control killer. But this week it's just all Miracle all day, and that's what happens right there. 4 wins with Rogue now for Cloud9. Looking like they're poised to even get a full sweep, as you heard Shrifecore mention. The full sweep with Rogue would be the first time that Rogue has gotten all 6 wins in the Trinity Series thus far. It would join Warlock, Mage, and Paladin as the 3 that have won all 6 games for a team. But looking at Alliance, Hunter and Druid are their last 2 remaining decks. And those things are going to have to carry them very far if they want to win. You know, it's getting to the point where they're going to have a potential reverse sweep of their own, or a full sweep of their own with one of these decks if they're going to want to win.
Yeah, is it going to be the mask? Or are they going to have to rely on good old Malfurion Druid? Now, the thing about Druid is that, yes, it does have a lot more polarized matchups, but it's still a Druid at the end of the day, and it still has Innervate with a lot of ramp opportunities.
Yeah.
So don't count out Druid, even though right now Alliance's back is against the wall, and a loss that is 0-6 is devastating.
It could take Alliance out of the running, because that would mean that they would have 2 matches total in the Trinity Series where they got 0 wins, which would almost make their chance to make the playoffs impossible if they were to lose 6-0 here, because that would mean that their win rate is pretty far down there as we move into the last week. So this is looking rough for Alliance, and Alliance has had an interesting road so far. They had a really rough start, and in the last couple weeks they've been picking it up and have actually looked really strong. They looked really impressive. They look like their teamwork was much more on point. And then today, I don't know, it's not even that they don't look impressive. It's not even that they aren't communicating well. It's just that they're losing to Rogue because Rogue's doing Rogue things, and it doesn't seem like they have something prepared for it. They had the Warrior, but once the Warrior lost, it looked like they didn't really have any deck that was super favored against it.
They had Tempo Mage, and they
lost. Yeah,
they lost with the Tempo Mage early on, which was pretty devastating. So can you really blame Alliance? Having 2 counters to a deck seems to be a solid last year's standing strategy. Having 3 might be necessary at this point, or you just have to ban Rogue, because Rogue is not bad right now.
Yeah, I guess it's about finding the balance between having multiple counters for the stronger decks, but also making sure you're still shoring up the weaknesses of some of your weaker decks. So jumping into it, this does look like it's a mid-range hunter, as we can see the Savannah Highmane in the deck.
Yeah, Orange is now on deck, and Orange has to single-handedly kind of take out all of Cloud9. Of course, you'll have Scott Gunpowder walking them through. Tides, in the meantime, he's really stepping up here big time, and we're looking at the Rogue score across all the Trinity Series. Cloud9 is now #1 in Rogue wins.
They're tied with Tempest. Are they? Have they won
Pretty
2
sure
sets
they
with
were,
it?
yeah.
Oh yeah. So they're 5 total wins now, and 1 over Tempest Storm, something like that. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Interestingly enough, too, Rogue, out of all the 3 classes, the power classes, would be the only one to have a sweep from Shaman, Warrior, Rogue. But it makes sense given that they've been banning it a lot. Not a good opening here for Alliance. They go for an opening joust, and they lose to a Van Cleef. Just one of many reasons why the joust mechanic feels very frustrating. Looks like Cloud9 is talking about some stuff, so let's go ahead and tune in to see what they're talking.
Dagger and don't do it. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Next turn, you can get it out of range. Right now, we can't get it out of range or bow, quick shot, or kill command, all of which they could have, and shuts down our entire play.
Prep of this, but I'd rather just take the 3.
Yeah, just take the 3. It's not a big deal.
I like passing too. The more I think about it, because you can combo backstab next turn with questing. I was thinking you just backstab here and then you questing prep of this, the animal companion or whatever called hunters next turn. But if even a huffer is better than a 2-tier.
If they coin pillager.
Yeah, we want animal companion here. Pretty sure. Like the ones died to fan, they died to a lot of things.
We haven't seen a single fan in these games.
True, actually.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, but I think animal companion is still better.
I like the companion more.
Yeah, me too. We can always play Rat Pack next turn.
I'm just thinking. Sure.
To my side. Give me a quest.
We get to save a coin this way. It's so good.
Well, this is a good hand now, suddenly.
Yeah, I mean, Tomb Pillager into Gadget double coin prep.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the top decks you want. with this hand, right?
Holy, that's a good draw. That's a good hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Our
God.
opening hand was questing, double prep, backstab. Then we
Yo,
went to
maybe
this
I'm
right,
onto
the two
something
pillager,
with no
Auctioneer.
counter for coin and this. So sick, yo. I never played any of the decks we submitted, by the way, not even one of them. I made them all up on the spot. And I had 0 play testing. There's not one deck we submitted that I've ever played.
Wow.
Good.
$150,000 on the line. And Shrevko was like, yeah, I just kind of like auto-filled my decks. Didn't really play them at all.
That's kind of funny. I mean, this deck's working out. This looks like what the deck that I think Show was playing in Europe playoffs with Barnes and Red Mana Worm. So they're good decks, obviously. I'm excited to see what the rest of their decks are because Strifecrow has played some.
Oh my god!
Yikes! Well, do they go?
Cold blood.
Do they go for?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
So
they couldn't deal with it this turn. What makes you think you can deal with it next turn?
Yeah, it just means you're delaying the Auctioneer, but I guess it doesn't matter if you're just going to beat them.
I mean, if they kill command, they're still going to be off. They need kill command and change.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah.
Rogue is absolutely decimating Alliance here. I don't think it's worth prepping out anything. You can still save the coin in case you need to use it with Gadsden the following turns.
So they need a miracle here. Deadly shot.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
You said they needed a miracle. They can guarantee the deadly shot,
yeah.
Actually. That's huge.
That's really big.
Yeah, that was the only card in the deck that can save him. Yeah, all of a sudden, maybe Hunter's able to turn this around here. Wow, what a top deck. And Cloud9 does have the opportunity to scrape this up. Wow, you gotta be kidding me, come on.
And a Tomb Pillager off the top. And Double Tundra Rhino is not gonna do much in trying to like stop damage. They might be able to Tundra Rhino into something else, and N'Zoth picked up. So N'Zoth, we saw in the Hunter build from Virtus Pro?
From last week.
Yeah, last week. And it did work. You know, it's a super control killer. As soon as you play N'Zoth, even if you just res like a one Savannah High Main and a Rat Pack or a Kindly Grandmother, that's all you need. You're going to beat him.
Just 3 really good Death Rattle minions?
Yeah. Just 2 really
even
good Death
Rattle
minions.
Even just one High Main.
Even just a High Main, yeah, that would be great. But I'm saying like 1 really good Death Rattle minion and then a bad Death Rattle minion. You ever summoned a High Main and then a Leper Gnome? Be really
I mean, the High Main summons 15 or what? No, 19 stats, just like through 6/5 and to the 2/2s, and then you have N'Zoth. So it's just like a lot of beef to it. Right now, if Alliance removes this Tomb Pillager, you're also giving Gadsden a second coin to utilize, but they can't bank on that. They're saying they have 3 cards in hand and one of them's coin. What's the chances that they have Auctioneer? It's got to be really low, right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Except it's not. The chances is 100%.
We'll see if Cloud9 picks up a Conceal. This game is all but over. And okay, Azure Drake it is, I guess.
Yeah, well, they don't have any direct spells to use with Gadsden Auctioneer, and
that's true.
You know, I guess Azure Drake is the same body on board, so the Gadsden coming into the hand, the Azure Drake coming into the hand is a lot more empowering for Cloud9 because they're putting Alliance back in the same position. They couldn't deal with 4 health minions because they just used Deadly Shot and Quick Shot. Now, how do they deal with the Azure Drake here?
They can kill it with Tundra Rhino plus a bow hit, and they still squeeze into hero power. Maybe somehow the 1 health Tundra Rhino survives, and they go in the next turn and can slam a Savannah High Main and do something or the face.
Yeah, that could be a good point. But Tundra Rhino will be really weak. It'll be at 1 health. Feels like it's pretty easy for your opponent to remove.
Yeah. But
and then you're going down to 8 life.
I think I mean, either way they play it, they're effectively at 8 life. If they just slam High Main, then they're going to be at 8 life anyway. With spell power on board and very vulnerable to sap at that stage. So Lions just got to play the best they can and hope that Cloud9 bricks for 10 turns in a row. And that Red Mana Worm does not have an answer right now, and the only thing that can save it would be another deadly shot. Not infested wolf.
That's gonna be game here then, because Alliance can't deal with that either.
Whoa!
So 5-0 for Cloud9, 1 game away from sweeping Alliance and keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. The 6-0 is sort of a necessity for Cloud9 at this stage to have a chance at making playoffs. And even then, a 3 and 4 score is only going to make them playoffs in a very specific scenario. And it starts with them winning, and they do win.
Yeah.
And they're winning a lot, so.
People question, should we ban Rogue? Because we know that Shaman and Warrior are very threatening classes as well. Absolutely. Rogue is one of the hardest decks to kill once you get rid of the aggressive strategies.
Yeah.
Unless you specifically outfit it to be able to beat Rogue. And even then, Rogue can sometimes take those games with Questing Adventures and the Van Cleaves, like we've been seeing all series long, or just win through the traditional way, which is building up a really mid-sized board and then having the Gadsden Auctioneer find you the engine for game-ending damage.
Yeah, it's been an impressive series thus far from Cloud9. We're going to see if they can complete the full Rogue sweep. We're going to go to a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. More Trinity Series right after this.
And this could just be an Aviana start playing, and it is.
Here we go.
Aviana. All right. We are going for it. There's a lot of card draw, so he needs to find Kuhn is the really, really big one here. There's Kuhn. This is Kuhn off into a Lunar Visions. Whee!
Into potentially another Azure Drake, which would be another 2 card draw. Another Lunar Visions.
All right, Innervate. Innervate's going to find some more. There's Cthulhu.
And Disciple, and then they can win the Cthulhu, and that is a 100%. Look at that deck.
He's got to go ahead and Disciple Cthulhu his own minion to make room. And there's 32 points of burst damage. Your nightmare begins, and the game ends. Dog actually looks like he's playing from bed. He's very relaxed.
Nice, comfy.
In his zone. It's not even a dog bed. He actually gets a full-size bed.
Yeah, it's a dog-friendly hotel. Hey.
Yeah, we have to.
For the 10.
Come on. Yep.
Yes, insta pick.
Hey, take your time. Take your time.
Rope
it.
But it's insta pick, right?
Yeah. Now we're definitely going anything here. Just take like mouse over all of them. Don't mouse over one. Mouse over all of them.
And then I misclick because I roped.
No, just.
All right, it's been enough time. It's been enough time. I'll go anything.
This actually
loses them the game.
Yeah, this is going to give Tempo Storm a lead. And we see Gara. He's so excited. It's like, all right, you gave me one more bluegill, and now...
Maybe they didn't even think about the Jacketed Operative, and there's anything can happen.
I mean, to be fair, this is a tough thing to beat. Your opponent getting anything to happen off of the Operative, but it's kind of in fitting fashion after our first match of the day. Our second match also comes down to anything can happen, clearing... well, let's hear what Cloud9 are going to do with this particular turn.
Do you like to play with fire?
Does that not clear it?
We're not very good at this game.
Oh no.
And their tech choices are very deliberate and very calculated.
So left card that you keep might be Innervate or Wildstroke now, right? If it's not a one.
There are 2 options. Either they don't have swipe, then it's definitely better, always.
If they rep hero power, are we more happy then? Then.
I had a South Sea Captain trade over with the patches, and then boom, boom, boom.
That's the sound of
That's the sound of a druid dying. Boom, boom, boom.
They're going to go with the alternative here. The Fiery Warax. Fiery Warax actually is a little bit more efficient here, I think, as well.
Yeah,
because of the damage.
Is.
But let's see how Virtus Pro thinks their situation afterwards.
So you're playing Drake into Innervate? 8, 11, 40, they're dead by turn 4.
Yeah.
Turn 40.
Do it right order. Attack with
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
the last match they have is going to be their Druid taking on Virtus Pro's Priest. And I don't know the specific math on that one, but I'm pretty sure it's Druid favored.
Well, I have a way to tell. We're going to look in our giant book of matchups, Admirable, and you can do the honors.
Okay, so let's take a look at our book of matchups here. Let's open this up and let's take a little look-see here. And okay, and one more. So let's go ahead and keep going just a little bit further. And yeah, according to the Tempo Storm meta snapshot on the website here, it's definitely Druid favored.
Dude, I don't know when they're broadcasting our comms, so like I imagine after we spend a minute, they've got to be like, let's take a listen in on what Luminosity is thinking, and we're just
wasting everyone's time. That's all we're doing.
If you're watching the Twitch stream, I sincerely apologize, but you're at a point in your life as a viewer where this is what you chose.
Oh, Chalky.
But we don't care about dealing with Tyrion.
Yeah, it's actually
We're never
not.
having board. This is a strictly burn game, so we should book and look for Skamaz things. Like that. That's lethal.
Look for Skamaz things.
Yeah.
All right, good talk, team. Good talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hearthstone Trinity Series presented by ESL and Twitch. We want to give a big shout out to Trollden for making that video, a little bit of a montage from the first 4 weeks of the Trinity Series. It's been a fun ride so far, and we hope for many more moments like those. But my name's CJ, joined once again by Lefrodan, and right now Cloud9 is up to a 5-0 lead with Rogue.
Yep, looking like Cloud9 is going to close the series out. It is all a matter of how many games can Alliance take in order to make the series competitive. Now, we've seen some people be able to make a few runs and a comeback, but not really be able to make a complete 6-0 sweep. You have to think about it. You know, what deck is most likely a sweep here? And it's definitely not going to be Druid, but Druid could do it. It's just going to be very hard because you're going to start things off with an unfavorable matchup. Because right now, in this very moment, Cloud9 is about 65 to 70% to just sweep it from this point on, because that's how convincing this matchup is.
Yeah, this one is going to be tough for Alliance. And not only that, but morale is probably very low for them. They think back to week number 1 where they got swept by a Murloc Paladin, and those feelings are probably starting to surge back as they get closer and closer to it. You could tell just how, somber they sound whenever we go to their team comms. And even Orange's face, he just looks sad. He's looking into the distance. He's got his hood up.
Yeah, well, that's just kind of how Orange's natural look is. He has resting emo face.
He's resting emotional. Wow, what a funny way to look at it. But
it's only because there's like no sun in the Scandinavia region during winter.
Yeah, especially because it feels like when he doesn't do his hair up, like it adds to the sad feeling,
drooping, like fading leaves of autumn.
Yeah, exactly. So when he does his hair, he looks a lot happier. But let's go listen in to Cloud9 and see how their spirits are as they look to complete the 6-0 sweep.
Good curve. Good curve.
Holy, that's so sick.
I like making it a 5-2. Because, like, if he has Living Roots, he probably plays it now. And we don't care if he gets Wrath.
I'm making a 1-1. What else would we do? We're never coin hero powering, so...
No.
Then why wouldn't we make a 1-1?
I guess we only have 3-4 drops. It's like coin wild growth into Jade Idol hero power. I just wanted to discuss it. I'm also leaning towards Jade Idol, but...
I mean, yes. Gets 1 power off the board. We lose coin.
We don't have too many good draws to draw into that.
Yeah. Say we draw 1 drop, then 1 4 drop, then we have coin 6 into 6. That seems better. Then have to draw a 4 drop and a 5 drop, right?
Yeah, sure.
I like this as well.
Twice. Playing differently is going to make you unfavored.
He had multiple options, huh?
Maybe.
Playing Wild Growth, maybe?
Let's see what he does before deciding. We're deciding too early what we want to do with Druid Flame. Okay, so he has still a coin, right?
I don't know. I like forcing him to react and then we Tomb Pillager.
Yeah.
But he can react with one mana. But he did Wild Growth, and he has a coin.
Yeah, we want to. Yeah, 5-2.
Yeah. I like it much more with the Wild Growth play by him.
All right, so debate between the 5-2 versus the 2-5 of Druid of the Flame, which came off the Swashbuckler, by the way. Any thoughts, TJ?
Well, I like the aggressive theme. They have just a curve. So if they're forcing Alliance to play reactively by presenting bigger minions to kill, then I like it. They're dealing more damage. They want to end the game. They want this 6-0 to be done with.
That's true. They have... If the Druid of the Flame attacks face, it's already worth 2.5 turns of attacking with the other version. Granted that it was vulnerable to just the Jade Spirit trading in, but I like the mentality that Tide of Time is talking about. He's saying force Druid to react, because Druid's very poor at being able to respond to the board and develop themselves. Not to mention, they also have Tomb Pillager with Gadget Stand just coming into their hand. It feels like Cloud9 has a lot of good tools at their disposal, including one of their finisher cards, the Red Mana Worm. That, if the board's squeaky clean enough, I don't mind even just playing that next turn, because 6 health, what is Drew going to do to that minion?
Yeah, they have to mulch it, which takes up much of their turn, especially since they haven't ramped that much. They've ramped a bit. They had the Wild Growth, but they haven't ramped a lot. So now it's the decision between these two sick drops. Jade Behemoth gets challenged by the board, at least the taunt portion, but they do leave a 3-3 behind and get closer to those getting their Jades to a point where Rogue can't deal with them.
I mean, I'm looking at Alliance, and they might have to coin Emperor Thorsan here. It doesn't seem like they have very good plays otherwise. They could coin the Jade Behemoth as well if they feel like they need to not take damage. Oh, they're going to mulch. Wow. Okay, actually, I really like this. Let's go ahead and listen to how Cloud9 is going to react.
The two.
Red Mana Worm, Point Cold Blood. Mulch is
Oh, yeah.
We have plenty of minions. We don't need to cycle with
we do
value in our hand.
It's gonna be crazy. 6/6 Red Mana Worm.
Plays around BMS, so yep.
Next turn, Tomb Pillager, King Zealot.
It's only spells, so it's not any stuff. That's unfortunate.
Free King Zealot.
Do you like the taunt?
Yeah, the taunt, if they have Sap, we're probably not dead. We can just replay it together with Jade.
Yeah, the taunt, definitely.
No backstab, so Tomb Pillager, King Zealot still. I mean, still just start with King Zealot just because.
Yeah, just thinking
you
of
might as
starting
well.
Swashbuckler to try to kill. Is it worth it to try to Swashbuckler to try to kill the 3-3?
3/2. So
But then the problem is, are you playing that with Drake?
Wait. A lot of Druid cards.
If you play a spell, then you're ruining your curve.
That's fine.
I think you win with the minion curve.
I think you win with the mini curve as well, and plus you're getting the.
Do we really need the 3-2 out? Like,
Yeah,
there's
but
a lot of
you're
Druid cards protect the Red Mana Worm. The Red Mana Worm is like auto win.
But this hand is auto win if you play it normally. You shouldn't take a risk when you're going to win anyways.
I don't think it's auto win.
It's almost an auto win.
You're 80% plus to win, and I think there's less odds than that of finding something useful off Swashbuckler.
Yield, taunt, mark the wild, mark of the nature. Okay.
I don't know. I just don't see losing just trying to play, clean, good board control Hearthstone.
Respectable, Firebat.
Honorable is what the term is.
Just good old board combat.
And they're right. I do think that just following the minion curve, they should be able to fight back very strongly against what Cloud Alliance is able to do, because they're running out of gas. Jade Idols are great, but I mean, they're now lost the ability to go infinite. It's not really going to be a matchup that it matters to go infinite, but the point is that Alliance doesn't have their main win condition, which is just draining their opponent resources and outvaluing them long term.
Yeah, I think the Hearthstone youngsters these days don't really appreciate board combat like we did in the old days, Dan.
That's right. Back then, we earned our tempo.
Yes,
the
we
hard
did.
turns work. Now you kids just get it free from your deck.
So many.
And who paid for it? We paid for it with our packs, our arena runs. These days, you guys make your posts thinking you're all clever and stuff. Nah, you guys know nothing. Nothing at all. Tell him, TJ.
I already told you.
Or just leave me hanging. It's cool. Savage Roar.
You basically covered all of the millennial memes.
Yeah,
you got it, Dan.
The Dr. Boom generation. The Dr. Boomers.
The Dr. Boomers.
Oh, man. I remember the good old days where we didn't get free packs every week from Tavern Brawls.
Savage Roar picked up.
Yeah, that means that even just 2 minions on the board is threatening enough. You have Leroy, Savage Roar. What kind of combo is this?
A
Alliance
good one.
Could be at their last turn of the series. Let's listen into what their final words are.
Yeah, we're actually so close to being dead. I mean, we are just dead, yeah.
Yeah, we are just dead. But... Bummer.
Yeah, we're just like everything.
Gotta hide that info.
Yeah, don't let him know. Might be trying to net deck.
Why are we Leroy him? No.
We're hiding it.
We're hiding it. It's over already.
But for the next team.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I'm sure they would see it at that point.
I like how they're concealing info for
that
next
was,
week.
Good series.
the voice of Strife Crow.
That was a quite. I was looking at your mouth, waiting for it to open as I heard the words.
No. It's just just we're still listening in on the Cloud9 server. Big shout out to the C9 guys really coming back to fight. A lot of teams could easily just call it quits. We're 1-4, really unlikely to make the playoffs. They came in swinging today, and now we have Cloud9 that has a reasonable chance. It's not likely still, but their chance went from what, like 10%, 5%, to now maybe 20, 25%.
I think it went from like 1% now to 5%.
Okay,
is how it is. It's the scenario is with the way the matchups line up towards the end of the season with other classes, like with other teams playing lower ranked teams. It's going to be hard for the upper ranked teams to be knocked down. Or if the upper ranked teams are knocked down, it means the lower ranked teams are winning, which means it'll be harder for them. So
they
it's
just
still
have to
very
keep
hard.
jumping teams, though.
They just have to keep jumping
Today,
teams.
they jump Alliance.
Yeah, exactly.
And then next week, maybe the jump Virtus Pro and Team Liquid Tempo Storm. We'll see.
Yeah.
But the hope is there. And I know a lot of people would love to see Cloud9 at the finals. They're definitely one of the more fun teams to watch.
Yeah. All right, well, we do have one of the members of Cloud9 joining us for an interview. It's Tides. Hey, Tides, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hey, man. First of all, great win. Now, I want to ask you, was the N'Zoth Rogue last week, was it just a sandbag? Was it bait?
No. I thought it was like, I thought it would have been like good to just throw something in the mix because like we'd been losing, obviously. Obviously, it's like Hearthstone and, like some like the weeks that we've prepped less for, we've won. And the weeks that we prepped for, we just got high rolled. But it was just like throwing something in the mix. I think like normal Miracle Rogue is just better overall across the board. But in like the pick ban last year standing format, I think Reno and N'Zoth could have shined because like people like don't know what's in it. People can't play really around it, and it will win like every value game. And it really only has one matchup where it has to draw Reno, which is Pirate Warrior. It's funny because like it loses like almost every game that it doesn't draw Reno against Pirate Warrior, but it wins almost every game that it does. But that he just had the super big Fraudians last time.
Yeah, Now you talked about how your success seems to be dependent on not prepping. But talk to me about your prep this week, because we got StrifeGrow sort of gave us a little bit of a hint as to what went into your prep this week. But talk to me a little bit about it.
Well, we actually just put we've been last week I was the deck maker. This week StrifeGrow was. The week before that was Firebat. I think the first 3 weeks we did it all together, but then we're we just wanted one just coherent game plan instead of having it just be all over the place, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually, having a coherent strategy with one player. But
StrifeGrow only focused all of his attention on one deck.
Yeah. I was actually excited to see potentially more decks. But you guys, it's still a pretty tough chance for you guys to make it to the playoffs, since your best record is 3 and 4. But there is some ways that the standings play out where you guys can make it. Are you guys still hopeful to make it? Are you guys still excited about the prospect of making it to the playoffs?
Well, I'm actually not sure what the odds are, but we're all guys that look at math, and so whatever the math shows probably shows about how hopeful we are. I don't all the teams that are here are good, so I don't think we're necessarily super favored against any teams. We can't just yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, keeping those expectations realistic. But last question, you guys seem to be having a lot more fun this week. Is that something that you consciously decided to do, was just have a more relaxed feel now that we're getting towards the last weeks?
Well, I mean, you're always naturally happier when you're winning. I don't think we're necessarily unhappy like other weeks. It's just you're just naturally happier when you're winning. But I think we handled our losses pretty well. I mean, when your opponents get Finja in turn 5 and a tier on 8 3 games in a row, and you're not mega super salty, I think that's an accomplishment, at least for me. And if you're your druid opponent just innervates and beats its 2 worst matchups and blah blah blah,
Yeah, he's not salty at all, TJ. He doesn't remember every single grading detail of those previous games.
But nonetheless, it was a really impressive performance by you guys this week. It was glad to see a 6-0, and now Rogue has been added to the table of decks that have performed a sweep, and it's by you guys. So congratulations on your win, and good luck in your match next week.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Always good to hear from time to time. It's and looks like they're in pretty good spirits, relatively speaking, for an eliminated team. I think apathy or anger is usually what's warranted from either of those positions. But it seems like with the fact that they went 6-0 today, very convincing victory, and the fact that they're leapfrogging Alliance effectively, what's Alliance going to be doing now? Are they going to be feeling like next week's going to be useless? Maybe that improves their chances, or maybe that worsens it. They're going to need Alliance to beat some of their other teams here too.
Yeah, so taking a look at the standing, so for example, if Complexity and Team Liquid and Temple Storm, lose out and they don't get many wins, Cloud9 with this win, now keep in mind that they've played and the other teams haven't, with this win they go to 25 wins. So that puts them much closer if the teams at the top of the standings start not winning many matches or winning many games in their matches. So Cloud9, there's still a tiny bit of hope for them, but this again definitely an impressive run from them to start it off.
Yeah, they have a good tiebreaker right now. Much better than the Lions, for example. Lions 7 games behind, which means that I think they're actually not able to make the playoffs. We'll have to eventually confirm it with you guys, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but it's time to start